Welcome to Real Money Talks. Real strategies from the moneymakers and the world changers that you can use to make millions, keep those millions, multiply your wealth, and build your team. Here's your host, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View, Loral Langemeier.
Hi, this is Laurel with Laurel's Real Money Talks podcast. So we're in a conversation about how to make money, how to keep money through better tax planning and corporate structure in your life, and how to invest money. How do you do that off Wall Street, alternative investing, and how do you build a team of extraordinary partners who have the same agenda, same financial goals, and can help you build what you want so you have some freedom in your life instead of working around the clock. So today we're going to talk with actually a brand new partner. Her name's Marina Watson. So actually, I just want you to come to the call, and I'm still going to talk a little bit about just how we met. But tell them a little bit about you, Maria. You're magical. You're amazing. You are a multimillionaire, and you've been doing it through nutraceuticals. So health and wealth are critical to both of us. You know, my background is exercise physiology and finance, interesting combination. So just talk a little bit about your background, how you got here, and then I'm going to share a little bit. We'll both share how we became partners. Actually, 2 weeks ago today, we signed documents, by the way.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, thank you for having me. And I'm excited to share how I got to this place because never in a million years would I have thought that I could have accomplished the wealth or the health that I have today. So to start out with, I'm 62 years old. And in 1987, I lost my 3-year-old son to a drunk driver and was 3 years of overly medicated for depression. And I was absolutely certain then that I would never get out of that darkness, that blackness, that I just want to end my life space. But I ended up being introduced to an amino acid formula. And as I shared with you offline, this amino acid combination gave me my brain back. And when I first started telling people about it, I never correlated, you've got to have this, to money. I just didn't put those two together. I just wanted you to feel as good as I did, and that's all that mattered. But as I got more involved in it and I started realizing before my eyes, people's mood would change. So when I saw that anything could be that instantaneous is when I first started realizing, oh my gosh, this can be monetized. So I got involved in manufacturing more to control the quality than to make more money. I just was very concerned about an industry that seemed so fragmented and so uninvolved in the quality that's where I saw my opening to monetize something so amazing.
And so you have a home here. We both live in Lake Tahoe. So she's on the North Shore. I'm on the South Shore. She also has a home in Palm Springs. So I'm going to just kind of hinge us together. So a lot of you have heard on my podcast and over the last year about my partner, Ben, and this whole cannabis movement that we've been on. So you know, to catch everybody up and put it together, we've got 23 acres in Cathedral City that we are about to contract to start breaking ground. That's a huge piece. And then as we were building out more projects, and then we have 4 more licenses in Nevada. So we were heavily in Nevada and California. And then my husband's in Canada, and it's been this ongoing journey to help Canadians because they're so heavily taxed to figure out how to invest in ways that Americans can. So it's a 3-year journey of figuring this out with their RSP money, which is synonymous to our IRA, and just over the river, through the woods, and, you know, you guys connect and meet people. So I finally met a financial team out of Vancouver and Calgary. And Ben, myself and another partner did a road show, that they're called, where we literally went and pitched actually, before we went, we met with a lot of financial people. And they said, well, you know, to go public on the Vancouver Exchange and to be in the cannabis space and do it well and big, you need to have revenue. And so Ben and his brilliance, and we started looking around to, well, how are we going to bring revenue to this? So, well, we're going to go buy it. So we're going to buy pre-existing. We're not going to grow it. We're going to buy into it. So we went immediately and got 3 dispensaries under LOI. In fact, I think he's closing the one today. I think it's in LA. Went to Cali, Colombia, and contracted growers. And part of the money that we're raising is to build an extraction facility for all of that harvest and build products straight out of Colombia and then ship it to the world, not to the U.S. And then the big one was this manufacturing facility. And this all happened, I think, just again, if you're in the space of making money and making deals, things come to you. So Ben had a friend who had a supplement line who needed better manufacturing, higher quality manufacturing, and Ben knew how to cut the deal. So Mike introduced Maria to Ben, and he started talking. And 2 weeks ago, literally today, on May 8th, we signed our first deal with all of the intentions, becoming a partner, and then over time to buy Maria out. I don't think she'll ever go away because we've all become too close, and we all love this. And since then, he's bringing you. We're going to be in the plant again tomorrow. I know you're down in Southern Cal, but we're going to be at the plant with the client again tomorrow. So our goal is, I call it, this plant, this Ben and my joke, Maria, is, it's not really a joke. It's our saying is this plant can print money and keep a lot of lives healthy. So I want to engage your story. I know you're not really on the money side, although you've created a lot of wealth and lifestyle and for yourself. But let's integrate the conversations, because without your health, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are. So speak to that a little bit so we have some frame of the conversation. Then I'm going to ask you some questions on how money gets printed over there at our plant.
Okay. So first of all, in this journey that has continuously educated me in a new nutrient. So I started out with amino acids, and then I learned about hormone replacement for women. And then I learned about iodine and how it protects the breast tissue. And then I learned about nitric oxide. And then I learned about cannabis. So one of the most interesting things about how your partnership, Ben, me, the building, I think elevates all of this is because what a manufacturing facility does, especially with all the certifications that I have that are now, at your fingertips, that you guys now have, we can take 28 years of my nutraceutical knowledge, combine it now with the cannabis industry, make products, and when you can change lives, and I don't know how much you've really studied because we haven't gotten to talk about this, but you know how I talk about the instantaneous effect of the amino acids? You should see the instantaneous effect of hemp and CBD that doesn't get you high, that immediately reduces anxiety, immediately reduces pain. When somebody talks about printing money, hello, anytime you solve a massive problem, there's cash that comes with it. And especially if you do it right, which matters so much to me that you guys want to do this right. So if we go make somebody healthier, like all this training that you give us to how to protect our money and how to make more of it and how to really be smart, what good is all of that if along the journey we don't get really smart about being healthy so we can enjoy all that money?
Exactly. So, and it's so exciting. I mean, talk a little bit about the history of the plant too, because I think, again, just to bring in the financial, why we're in this position, why you were in this position. Talk about the history of it. You and your husband have been doing this for years. This is a new partnership. It's a new partnership with Ben and I and our team, but it's a dream. Like, I don't think you're ever really going to not do this because you are too excited about the products and the blends of all the nutraceuticals. But talk about the history and the top line of the revenues that you guys, used to put through this plant. And by the way, the plant is in Carson City, Nevada. So it's in between Lake Tahoe and Reno. It's our capital city in Nevada. So it's in Carson City is where we're talking about it.
Here's the history. So I shared with you that I got into the supplement business because of a need. And then I ended up marrying my husband, who owned a company called Vitamin Research Products. And together, and you can still find that brand on the internet, but it's no longer ours. And I'll share how this happened. So together, we built that company up. And then my husband was very concerned about the regulatory environment for nutraceuticals. So although we built this amazing 55,000 square foot manufacturing facility from the ground up, which is the building you're now involved in, that building housed the brands, Vitamin Research Products, and the medical brand Complementary Prescriptions. That's what was inside that building. And we owned those brands and we owned the manufacturing facility. Well, because of the regulatory concern, he sold the business. So he sold the brands and the manufacturing facility. He tells me that life's going to be wonderful. We're going to retire. We're going to have this beautiful home in the desert on a golf course, blah, blah, blah. I only made it in retirement 3 weeks. I couldn't stand it. I'm like, what on earth do people, there was nothing in me. So I immediately went back consulting. But in the meantime, private equity group comes, buys the brands, messes it all up, runs my husband in the summer of 2015 and says, we're done. We're going to resell the brands to 2 different owners. One of the owners wants the manufacturing business, not the building. So let's negotiate our way out of this lease. See you later, alligator. I'm looking at my husband going, you are kidding me. You're not going to find somebody on every street corner that wants a 55,000 square foot manufacturing facility. Give me those damn keys back. I can do this again. So in March of 2016, at the ripe old age of 61 years old, I decide I'm going to start over again from scratch. No brands, no business, no nothing. So I walk into the building with the keys. I unlock the door. I'm all alone. And I'm looking at this building going, what on earth have you done? You don't know how to do this. And I swear to you, you know that I believe in God. And I just, all of a sudden, this thing came over me. Yes, you do. You know exactly what to do. You start hanging those pictures because they left the nails. So I could just started hanging pictures on the nails. I rehired a bunch of my employees that had been so loyal to us and had been left behind. And all of a sudden I have employees and I gathered up equipment. I started buying and I'm spending money like a wild woman. And I'm still thinking, and my husband's in my ear going, what are you doing? You don't even have a customer. And it was build it and they will come, because nobody can not appreciate, like you saw, how gorgeous that facility is.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is I teach a whole premise of build it and I guarantee they won't come. Part of, I think, why we're partners. So we're going to fix the marketing. We already brought 2 customers. A lot of folks have actually been on my podcast. So Dr. Trem, he is Alzheimer's brain research, great guy. He's also makes a ton of money on Amazon. Actually, his Amazon business outpaces his medical practice. And we're building a very private line for him. So we introduced Maria to him. And we should be able to go live with him on new revenues in the next few weeks. We have another guy on Amazon. We're putting a private line for him. And right now, Maria and I and Ben are talking about putting a line for me, which I love, because everyone that knows anything about me knows that supplements have always been a huge part of my life. My husband he says, you think supplements are food versus eating as much food? I said, well, I do, because actually there are different nutrients for my body that are needed that are not in food. So to that point, talk about the qualities of nutrients. And then I want to just talk about the quality of manufacturers. Just hearing you on calls, Maria, it's a small little world and it's a big little world, right? Does that make sense? Like it's a small little world for people, but the amount of revenue that can run through, like at the height, what were you and your husband doing? 20, 30, 50?
You know what? I think it was just south of 30 million. And that grew really quick. But I will tell you that the 2 other companies, without naming them, that I ended up consulting for, one, within 2 years, we took it from 300,000 a year to 15 million, and it's now on pace to do 50. And then the other company that I did some consulting for is valued at, I think, a little over 40 million. And I've only been consulting for some of these companies, for like on a 2-year contract. The reason it can go so rapidly is because of the key you just talked about. I can't tell you how many times I'm on an airplane and that person sitting next to me figures out, through conversation, what it is I do for a living. And then they ask me, how do I know what to take? And every time I have to answer the same. Well, you know what? You don't. You don't, because there is so much misinformation. So one of the biggest things that makes me crazy is everybody thinks they're supposed to take calcium, which I'm going to just tell you a little bit about that. All us women are so afraid of our bone density, so we're told to go take calcium. Well, excuse me, there are like 12 different kinds of calcium, and they don't all work the same. More importantly than that, you've got to know that if you're going to take calcium, you've got to take D3 and you've got to take K2, or else all that calcium is going to go to your arteries. Hello? Calcified arteries is not what you want. You want it in your bones. So I meet all these people. Well, I can't do one-on-one consults. because I'm not even a doctor. That's why I get so excited about anybody that has a following, anybody that has people that will listen to them. Let's educate your followers, because now you want to talk about printing money. You're going to print money, not because you set out to print money, but because you're actually giving them valuable information, because nutrients are not all created equal. And when you don't know what you're doing, our old company was known, when we had control of it, for quality in every single nutrient at the level that'll actually do something. Everybody knows biotin's good for your nails. Well, not at 5 milligrams. It ain't going to do squat. So you think you're getting biotin because your neighbor told you to go take it, but you're not getting the right amount. So what we're going to do within your line, within Dr. Trin, within anybody that wants to go down this path, we make it right and we solve the problem.
Awesome. So here's what's frightening as I listen to you. Well, actually, I want you to finish the second question, then I'm going to talk about what's frightening. It's just the lack of information, yet there is so much information in the space. I'll talk about that next. But what's the difference between manufacturing, like just the plants, like between what we have and between others? Is it quality? Like when you talk about the certifications, because that also allows us to have better margin. So you're not just, any person on the street. You're one of, we are one of a group actually that have certifications no one else in the United States has.
Yes, we are. And let me tell you the fear that I have in tackling this topic, because people can't fathom that this happens. There are certifications that involve audits. Those are the kind we have. People actually come and verify that you're doing what you say you're doing. Then there are certifications that people tout as if they're equal that don't have any audits. Then there is the criminal aspect of the health world that astonishes me, because how in the hell can you sleep with yourself at night? There are people that are manufacturing very large brands. And Laurel, I know this is so hard to believe, but I have tested products off the shelf that don't have their actives in it. And supposedly GMP, general, good manufacturing practices, were supposed to stop that from happening. But whenever you make a rule, somebody that isn't honest is going to figure out how to break it. All I can speak to is our certifications. Everything we do is auditable, and I want to be audited, because I always want to be able to prove that I am doing it right. That's who I want to be in this world. And what we will stand for, and will always stand for, as did my previous brand, is that we don't cut corners. And so one of the certifications you're talking about that nobody else has at this point, and that will always be that way, just happens to be this, is the International Center for Cannabis Therapy in the Czech Republic. Is one of the few groups that has actual 10-year protocols on how you're supposed to use this stuff. Like right now, everybody's jumping in the green rush. Well, it's kind of like everybody jumped into vitamins. You got to know how much you need and how much to use and what quality to use. And that's where we are going to rise above the noise, because without those certifications that show that your hemp is actually THC free, that your THC is actually the level you say it is, and that when you tell Gladys how much to use, it's based on 10 years of science, not just somebody making it up. So does that make sense? Because that's a big topic.
Well, I think one of the things that not only the certifications, which prove the audit, which makes it all more marketable. That's why it's not been difficult for Ben and or I to go out and find some of them that, we're talking to are going to take a little longer to get in process because of what they need for their products. But this is very, very marketable. It provides bigger margins. It provides more longevity to the client because it's really high quality. So let's talk about the quality though. So MLMs, I think, have destroyed the supplement world. They've just taken a big bat to it, right? Because they produce such shit sometimes, right? And so when people are out listening to this podcast going, wow, my whole goal is that stop and look at what you're doing for money. Because I've had some clients actually say, well, how could I make money with this plant? Are you taking investor dollars? I said, no, we don't need investor dollars. We might at a different point in the trajectory of this, but right now we're not. I said, but what you could do if you wanted to make some revenue with us is bring us a client. And I think there's a lot of, learning for all of you in that. A lot of you are so worried about finding your client versus finding other people clients and then taking some of the margin in there and some percent of the deal and learning how to cut yourself into the deal. So there's a whole money part of this. And then there's a high quality certification audit part of this. All that's in finance. And then there's just the quality of the products, which I want to go back to because MLMs are notoriously done right, even if they only last a few years, they make a fortune. And a lot of products, I mean, you and I could name them, we won't, but they're really, really crappy products. So if I'm out there listening, it's like, how do you sort through to find what's really right for you, number one, and then, how's the quality of the products and the ingredients and all that?
Okay, so on a couple of levels, I want to answer it all kinds of different things. First of all, that amino acid that saved my life actually was a network marketing company. And so I have a real adoration for the earning that happened to me by accident. I never understood the pay plan. There was always all these circles and squares and I didn't really care. But all I did was I went to work because I believed in that product. Now, unfortunately, the product changed, the quality changed, and that's what forced me into manufacturing. But I think to your point, the reason MLM can sometimes destroy the integrity of a nutrient or a product is because they try to make so many people get paid. I mean, if you do the math, by the time you pay 9 levels, all that money, the poor person that bought the product is paying 9 different salespeople to get it into her body. But when done correctly, network marketing is a very powerful thing. And I think the other point you made is don't always think you have to start everything from scratch. Some people don't even realize who they know that might have a following or might have figured out how to do blogs or might have go to that person, or maybe you are part of a blog or you listen to a podcast. Go to the person that has the people and put yourself in the middle of the deal that says, hey, one thing, by the way, Laurel, that you now know that we have that most plants don't have is because my plant started with a brand, we have R&D that I'll hold up to anybody, research and development in a product line, and food scientists that are in our building and part of our team. That's not normal in everyday manufacturing plants. So what our group can do is, back to your point, if you find a passion, let's say beautiful hair matters to you and it's your thing. You have beautiful hair, you love beautiful hair, you admire beautiful hair, and you know a bunch of people that want it. Then come to us and we will create the most kick-butt hair product because we have in our R&D team over 40 years in this space. And we stay up on research. We know what'll make your hair beautiful. So again, I just think that as your listeners are finding their way with what is it I'm going to do next, you're just a huge resource with this team you're putting together that can help anybody make tons of money.
Exactly. And we are, just to pre-announce it all, because what I do is we may take the product line that we're going to build around, the Millionaire Maker brand, and we might MLM it. So we got lots of cool stuff in the works. And again, my conversation about the MLMs wasn't to diss them. I love MLMs done right. I just think, again, the quality sometimes suffer and the clients don't get, like I love your example of calcium. Like sometimes people just don't know and they need to know. So I think we're kindred spirits as I love teaching people money. You love teaching people health, and health and wealth go together. And it's just an exciting time. It's an exciting time. And like I said, this green rush with all these infused products that are going to be coming to market, I think that'll actually create the stability in the market, are the products, the product lines, whether it's, hemp, CBD, or some combination of medicinal, marijuana with THC, I think barely scratched the surface of what's going to be possible. And they're clear about seizures. They're clear about, dementia. They're clear about several things, but there's still so much more to be uncovered, especially in, I think, the aging population, the anti-aging. I think there's tons and tons and tons yet to be discovered and products to be designed and developed. Don't you?
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm learning so much. I mean, my goodness gracious, I'm uncovering some data right now with a group of scientists about how you can actually utilize some of the hemp components for weight loss. Don't think I'm not going to pay attention to that one.
Exactly. Like you need to, girl. Well, listen, we are at the end of our podcast, so we'll bring you back. I think you and Ben and I should do like a whole panel and conversation. Our goal out there for all of you folks listening from all over the world is to help you just engage in this conversation, make more money. If keeping money and better tax strategies and being international is part of your conversation, or you want to learn to invest. So lean in, learn this conversation about money, because if you're not in charge of it, somebody else is. So you've been listening to Loral's Real Money Talks. And again, if you have any questions, want comments, before we leave, Maria, give a website. If they want to go, check out your supplement line, where could they go to go check out some stuff and buy some stuff if they wanted to try it?
So right now, my puny little line that I've just barely gotten off the ground because I've been so busy getting all my certifications and getting everything, to build it so you will come. So right now, Perfect Vitamin Products Plural.com, and I don't think you can Google it because I don't even know how to make myself be a Google ranked person, but perfectvitaminproducts.com gives you a little glimpse at where I'm starting. And again, 28 years will not go wasted in this industry and what we know and what we can do. And I'm so excited to make products for you, because what good is all this money if at the end, all you're trying to do is buy your health back? Let's stay healthy so that you can appreciate all of it.
Absolutely. And again, those of you that head to that website, check stuff out over there. Stay tuned with us. Follow me on Facebook, Laurel Langmeyer, or Live Out Loud. And if you have a question or have a request, go to askloral.com, askloral.com. Put in your name, phone number, email, ask me a question, and every month I come live to answer them. And in the meantime, my team will be answering them on a daily basis. So you all take care, and we'll be back on Loral's Real Money Talks soon. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Real Money Talks podcast. Your host has been Laurel Langmeyer, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View. Want to learn more about off-Wall Street investing, tax strategies, and multi-million-dollar business strategies? Visit liveoutloud.com/podcast for past episodes, show notes, and resources. For some special wealth-building gifts only for Laurel's podcast listeners, visit liveoutloud.com/podcast gifts. Do you have a burning question for Laurel? Visit askloral.com to submit your question, and it may just be covered on a podcast episode. So stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to get new episodes every week.